This man killed so many people that the color of the earth changed, not in stories, not in myths, in real history, documented, verified. Scientists studied ice cores from Antarctica, frozen records of the ancient atmosphere, and found something extraordinary in the 1200s. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere suddenly dropped. Farmlands across Asia went silent. Fields that once fed millions returned to forest because the people who worked them were gone, all of them. Historians estimate that the Mongol conquests killed somewhere between 10 and 40 million people. That was roughly 10% of the entire world's population at the time, and it all began with one man born with nothing, who became everything and left behind a silence. This is the true story of Temujin, the boy the world would come to know as Genghis Khan. The year is 1162. On the cold plains of northern Mongolia, a child is born clutching a blood clot in his right hand. In Mongol tradition, this was a sign that this child was destined to rule. His name was Temujin, named after a Tatar warlord his father had just defeated in battle. His father, Yesugei, was the chieftain of a Borjigan clan, a man of some power on the steppe. His mother, Holod, had herself been kidnapped by Yesugei and forced into marriage. This was not unusual on the Mongolian steppe. Dozens of rival nomadic tribes were constantly raiding, stealing, and fighting each other. Violence was not something Temujin would learn. Violence was something he was born into. When Temujin was 9 years old, his father took him across the steppe to find him a future bride, a girl named Bort, on his way back home. Yesugei accepted an invitation to eat with a group of Tatars. It was his last meal. He was poisoned. By the time the news reached his family, Yesugei was dead, and everything fell apart. The clan, the same people who had followed Yesugei, abandoned the family entirely. Left a 9-year-old boy, his mother, and his 6 siblings alone on the open steppe. No food, no protection, no tribe. They survived by eating roots, wild berries, rats, and whatever they could hunt. During these desperate years, Temujin killed his own half-brother over a dispute about food. He was not yet 10 years old. A few years later, rival tribesmen captured Temujin and enslaved him, forcing him to wear a wooden collar called a kang. He escaped at night, hiding in a freezing river, depending on the mercy of a sympathetic guard. Then, at 16, he married Bort, the girl his father had promised him, and within months, she was kidnapped by the Merkit tribe, taken as a trophy wife for their chieftain. This was the steppe. This was life. But Temujin was done accepting this life. He gathered 20,000 warriors, allied with powerful tribal leaders, and rescued Bort. From this moment, the man who would become Genghis Khan began his rise. Temujin was not simply a fighter, he was something rarer, a strategist, a leader of men. While other Mongol chiefs ruled by birthright and blood, Temujin promoted by merit. If you were loyal, if you were skilled, it didn't matter where you came from, you rose. He introduced a code of laws called the Yasa. He built a communication network of horse relay stations stretching across thousands of miles. He organized his army into units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000, with smoke signals and drums to coordinate them. Soldiers could fire arrows with deadly accuracy at full gallop, riding and fighting as one. By 1206, after years of war and betrayal, Temujin had done what no one before him had managed. He united all the nomadic tribes at a great assembly on the banks of the Anan River. The tribal leaders proclaimed him Genghis Khan, universal ruler. A supreme shaman declared him the representative of Tengri, the sky god. On Earth, his destiny was to rule the world. He believed them. What followed was unlike anything the ancient world had ever seen. Genghis Khan had a simple policy: surrender, become our vassal, pay tribute, and you will be protected. Resist, and you will be destroyed. In 1211, Genghis turned north toward the Jin dynasty of China, the rulers who had long exploited the Mongols. By 1215, his forces had captured Jiangdu, the city we now call Beijing. The campaign was brutal. Entire regions were depopulated. In 1218, Genghis Khan sent a trade delegation to the powerful Khwarezm Empire. the governor of Otrarhead. The merchants executed. Genghis sent 3 ambassadors demanding justice. Shah Muhammad II had one beheaded and sent the others back humiliated. It was the worst decision any ruler in history ever made. Genghis Khan launched his full army westward. 200,000 soldiers, city after city fell. Samarkand, one of the great trading cities of the medieval world, fell in 1220, its population enslaved. Merv fell, a city of 500,000 people. When it was over, contemporaries recorded over 700,000 dead. The city was erased. In Nishapa, Genghis Khan's son-in-law was killed. His daughter demanded revenge. Every living thing was to be killed. 170,000 people. Even the animals, their skulls were stacked in pyramids as a warning. Remember the Tatars? When Genghis finally defeated them, he ordered every male taller than a cart's axle to be executed. This was not rage. This was calculation. He wanted no future generation of Tatars to grow up seeking revenge, the destruction of Baghdad. 1258 was the legacy of the system Genghis built. Baghdad was the intellectual capital of the world. When the walls fell, books from the great libraries were thrown into the Tigris River. It was said the river ran red with blood and black with ink. The irrigation canals of Mesopotamia, systems built over thousands of years, were destroyed. Iraq would not fully recover for centuries. Here's where history becomes almost impossible to believe. Scientists at the Carnegie Institution for Science published a study in the journal The Holocene. They analyzed land use and carbon dioxide levels from 800 AD to 1850. Their finding: the Mongol invasions caused so many deaths, such complete depopulation of vast agricultural regions, that farmland across Asia and Central Asia was abandoned. Forests grew back on land that had been cleared for centuries. Those forests absorbed an estimated 700 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere. That is roughly equal to a full year of global gasoline emissions today. Genghis Khan, the destroyer, had completely accidentally achieved the first recorded case of human-caused global cooling. The Earth itself recorded as violence, in ice cores from Antarctica, in the rings of ancient trees, in the carbon of the air. He killed so many people that the planet breathed differently. History is rarely simple. Genghis Khan was also the man who declared religious freedom across his empire and promoted soldiers by merit, not bloodline. He abolished inherited aristocratic titles, built one of the world's first international postal systems, and forbade the kidnapping and selling of Mongol women. He was generous to those who were loyal, deeply faithful to his closest companions. A man shaped by every cruelty the steppe had inflicted upon him, and who returned that cruelty to the world at an owl. Most incomprehensible scale. He died in August 1227, likely from injuries after falling from his horse. His burial place was kept secret. According to legend, the 2,000 slaves who buried him were killed by their guards, and those guards were killed by a second unit. And those soldiers killed every witness they passed on their way back. To this day, his tomb has never been found. A man who left his mark on the entire earth and left behind no grave. Perhaps what is most terrifying about Genghis Khan is not the scale of the destruction. It is that it began with a 9-year-old boy, sitting alone on a cold steppe, watching his world fall apart. Pain shaped him, betrayal sharpened him, and the world paid the price. He once said, "I am the punishment of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you." Whether or not you believe in divine punishment, history confirms the result. One man, one lifetime, and the earth itself changed color.